So we're here in Green Park, which we know is about a 5-minute walk from Buckingham Palace. This is one of the royal parks that's been set up as sort of an official memorial for those who want to come, pay their respects, lay flowers for the Queen. We know that just 2 hours from now, at 2:22 precisely, a processional will set off from Buckingham Palace, taking the Queen's coffin to Westminster Hall, where it will officially lie in state until her funeral happens on Monday. The public viewing, we also know, will start today at Westminster, and that will go until 6:30 in the morning on Monday. Here, back in Green Park, we've been reading many messages left by mourners and well-wishers. Somebody else that has joined us this morning is Andrew Morton. You're familiar here to your morning. Welcome. Good to have you.
Good morning. Yes, on this rather sad but rather poignant day.
Yeah, you know, I was here last night with mourners, and we were gathered around this monitor watching the Queen's body land in London. You were watching from home. What were you thinking and feeling?
Well, it brought me back to the day that Diana's body was brought back from Paris, landed at the same airport, RAF Northolt, brought along the same highway, the A40. People still then lining the route. This time it was a more organised event, but it was, I have to say, the Queen's decision to help with the illumination of the hearse was a masterstroke on her behalf, and there was something quite mystical and magical about watching the Queen's hearse go past all the crowds and silently, quite quietly lining the route until the end, where there was a big cheer.
Yes, and I don't know if they caught it on any of the coverage back in Canada, but there was a hip hip hooray for the Queen as well.
That's right.
Andrew, most of the people that we've spoken with here at the park in the last few days have talked about the remembrance of the Queen, their gratitude for her service, but they always end with, but you know, we're looking forward to Charles. How has the mood and the attitude towards Charles shifted in the last bit?
I think that with Prince Charles now, or King Charles III as he is, and that's exactly why it's changed, because he's no longer a prince, he's a king. And we see him as a man in full, not compared to his mother all the time, not compared to Prince William or the Prince of Wales, but himself. And I think you're going to see that more and more. What kind of personality, what kind of tone, what kind of style is he going to impose? Because, you know, it was very much the case of the Queen is dead, long live the King.
And what about Camilla? I mean, she was known as the Rottweiler in this country for a while. Now she's the Queen Consort.
It's astonishing, isn't it? What a journey she's had from the other woman hiding and living in the shadows to a woman now who's supporting and nurturing the man, her beloved husband of 17 years, in this rather lonely job.
I want to show you some of the video that played here and around the world, and this is of her sons, Diana's sons, and King Charles' sons, Prince William, Prince Harry. They were there with their wives, walking in Windsor. A lot has been made about them finally being back together. When we see these images, what do you see here?
Well, for me, it was an armed truce. It wasn't a particularly affectionate. It was a rather distant relationship. But having said that, you know, if people behave well in public towards each other, they may ultimately behave well in private. So it may be the start of a rapprochement, but at the moment I would say it's an armed truce.
Listen, I want to ask you something. The last time you and I spoke in person was pre-pandemic. You were in our green room at your morning. This is away from our interview. And you said to me, I think Harry and Meghan are going to America. This is long before it had ever been discussed. You had that kind of insight then. What do you think is in the future for the two of them?
Well, I mean, they are literally the king and queen of California. And this is what you've got to bear in mind. They live in one of the richest states in the world. And when they go to a reception, there might be billionaires, multimillionaires there. And part of the job of royalty is raising money for their charities. And they're in the perfect position to do that. They don't have to kowtow to anybody. And I think that they'll find being here is way too inhibiting. And I think that they're set for the long haul. And also, Princess Lilibet, she's the American princess, born in Montecito on the west coast of California. So she'll be taken into the American nation's hearts. So we've got an interesting compare and contrast for years to come.
Always fascinating to talk royals with you, Andrew Morton. Your insights are fantastic. You had mentioned to us that it's almost 25 years ago to the week of Diana's funeral, the last time we saw the boys walking on the mall behind a coffin. Thank you for coming here today.
Yes, that's going to be an extraordinary, emotional time.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.